It's time to go balls.
Whoa, man.
What?
We don't do that anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So the reporter says, I got a follow-up for you, Baphomet. When you shit, is it like human shit or like rabbit pellets? The country really wants to know. It's actually the question we get most. And Baphomet says, it's actually more like cat shit than anything. I can't really explain it.
welcome to the Scafachiverse. Or not.
Or maybe not. Fuck it, roll with
There
it.
we go. Look at that. Here we are in the Scafachiverse. Dude, where everything works exactly as planned. Oh, dude. We are very professional. That's why we have such good sponsors. And, dude, let's talk to people first. Let's welcome, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. It's Anthony Scafachi.
I'm Alan Gegax, and I do not have my shit together.
No, dude, we're off to a rough start this morning. It's going to be tough.
We are off to a rough start.
But,
when you change things up, you get out of rhythm.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're making a lot of changes here, but, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, and rhythm has never really been my strong
No,
suit.
we got to get you drunk for that. And
that's right.
Not happening anymore.
No, that's true. That's sad, right?
Hey, everybody, just want to say thanks for joining us again. Thanks for another episode of, the Scafachiverse. We want to make sure you get out there and follow us, put us on subscribe, rate the podcast, tell a friend. For God's sakes, tell a friend.
Yes, dude, that helps so much.
Yeah, share the shit out of this thing.
Yeah, Anthony can't do all the heavy lifting himself.
No,
he needs at least a little bit of help.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah, just one of you motherfuckers.
Speaking of just a bit, it reminds me of Just the Tip.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's one of my favorite segments.
And we have a sponsor for Just the Tip. Yep, we have the sponsor for Just the Tip is Beef Curtains Deli, the juiciest and tangiest roast beef in Revere. And now we have the tip.
Give me the tip.
And the tip is, I'm an old man and things are falling apart. And like as evidenced by the intro of this podcast,
that's okay.
Some of it's my faculty, some of it's my body breaking down. But dude, I don't know if you have this problem because you're the same age as me. I drop things. And the things that I drop especially are those slippery fucking electronics.
Not the soap.
No, I don't. And no.
Back from
sadly.
the prison
Yeah,
days.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I use the scrubby, those
A loofah.
net-looking things. Yeah,
it's called a loofah, man.
Yeah, and that treats me pretty well. Shower technology has really come a long way. But no, it's not about dropping stuff in the shower. It's my goddamn earbuds.
Okay.
They come in the little pod-looking case, and it's all smooth. And I drop the fuck out of those things all the time, and eventually they break.
Yeah.
So here's the tip. Put grip tape on those things.
Grip tape on?
Yeah, dude, I bought a little roll of grip tape.
Holy shit.
And I cut just a small piece. I don't cover it with grip tape or wrap it around. Just a little piece on the front, on the back, on the top. And it makes it a lot less slippery. And I don't drop that shit nearly as often.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it makes me feel like a really old man, but a really old man who doesn't drop his earbuds all the time anymore.
Oh, good. Thank you for that tip.
Hey,
man.
that's
if there's
helpful.
other old people in our audience, then maybe they can.
That's right.
They can get
or
on that
people
too.
who got the shakes, or something like that.
All right, so what are we
holy
doing today,
shit.
man? I know
Dude, today
Yeah.
it's story time.
I like story time, but this story is going to be different because this
it
isn't
is.
an imaginary story.
No, this is real.
No,
this really happened
is
to a stupid person I know.
This is as real as pooping in a Jack in a Box cup.
This is as real
Yeah.
as poop. Yeah, maybe I should add in about how I poop during this story.
Well,
maybe it'll
you
come
know,
up organically.
Yeah,
maybe it will.
So, what's this story about, Al?
This story is about the first time I went backpacking.
Yeah, this was a long time ago.
It was like 20 years ago,
At
maybe
least,
longer
yeah.
now. And I had been camping before, like car camping, and I'd been hiking before, but I'd never used the one to do the other.
Yeah.
Or I'd
and
never
you've
used it to go camping.
Well, and to my knowledge at that
Yeah.
time, you had never done anything even nearly this ambitious.
No, certainly not.
Yeah, like went right into the fucking deep end of the pool.
So where I decided to go, well, first, my motivation. This is back in the days when we had our fantasy football league, and I was the commissioner, and my phone was just ringing nonstop.
Yeah.
And
your dial-up phone at home.
yeah, exactly.
Not
yeah,
even-
like
not
it
even
was
a
ringing
cell
like with a
phone.
bell in it. And it just got to be too much. Now that's like standard. dude.
Yeah.
Like, I get 20 calls a day just from fucking telemarketers.
You get 4 from
Fuck
me.
telemarketers. Yeah, plus 4 from you. And it's on top of the telemarketers. It's too much. But back then, dude, that was like real obnoxious.
You encourage the fucking telemarketers.
I do. Oh, dude, that's going to have to be a tip for another time.
Yeah.
Because,
that could be an
lesson
entire
learned on that
episode
one,
if you ask me.
Oh, those motherfuckers. Hey, if you're a telemarketer and you're listening to this, go fuck yourself.
All right.
Dude, although you and I each spent a turn as telemarketers.
Dude, very briefly.
Yeah, dude, it was awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
All right, so let's get
yeah,
to
the phone stopper wouldn't stop ringing, so I wanted to get some solitude, and I'm looking for a cool place to go, and I settled on the West Rim Trail at Zion National Park. And what I liked about it is it had numerous backcountry camping spots that had water, like a spring nearby, and the hike starts way up on this plateau and then finishes down in Zion
so it's
Canyon.
it's
so
an
it's
entirely
downhill.
downhill, except for like a few small sections where you have to like hike
where you have to
back up
climb
a
back
small
up
hill.
like a little canyon.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, it's
right. And so at the time, I was not a hiker yet. I was still fat. I was probably still in the neighborhood of like 270, 280.
I don't remember you being that heavy at the time.
Well,
you're probably like 250.
I was at my heaviest when I started with the hiking group.
Yeah.
And that was around 290.
Wow.
And so
I can't picture you.
I was in that neighborhood. Well, I always wore it pretty well.
Yeah, for a guy that's like 5'7".
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stocky. Yeah. So anyway,
just big bones.
and so I figured I was strong, and so I could go downhill. That shit's easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not my legs that are the problem; it's my lungs.
Not really even a cardio issue.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So no problem. So that's how I settle on this hike.
Okay.
And it's going to be like a 16-mile hike. But I'm also doing it over 5 days, 4 nights, and there's plenty of time to rest, no big deal.
Sure.
So, the deal is, though, when you're backpacking, you got no car, you got no anybody, and there's a dude, an outfitter, who's going to drive me to the trailhead, so I can't even, go back to my car.
Yeah, it's just
I
gone.
have to go, and so everything I need has to come with me.
Okay, so hold on.
Yes.
I want to stop right here. Not
Okay.
stop, but maybe pause for a second.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so prior to Alan going, he told me about this trip, and then I remember, I don't know if you're about to talk about this, but you had a notebook, and and that notebook had a list of things that you were going to bring.
I have that list.
You have that list.
I have that list.
Go ahead then.
It'll come up when we get to it.
Okay, just keep going now.
Okay, so everything I need has to come with me. So you have to pack for safety, first of all, because if there's an emergency. You have to pack for comfort. I don't want to freeze to death or anything like that. I want to enjoy it.
Do you remember what time of the year that you
It
went?
was
in
like
this?
fall,
Okay.
I think.
And,
yeah,
and
the
up in
temperatures were
Utah, it
mild.
does tend to start to get colder.
Yeah, it'd be cold at night, warm during the day.
Okay.
It was good temperatures, and I have to pack for boredom. It's funny now, at boredom, not an issue.
No.
I never get bored.
No.
If I sit down and there's nothing to do and I'm looking around, I'm like, dude, that's fucking glorious.
Yeah, that's a
But at the
peace and quiet
time, I was
is
probably in my 20s.
definitely in your 20s.
And boredom was the enemy.
Yeah.
And so I had to bring stuff to keep myself occupied too, to fight off boredom. And so all of these things have to come with me.
Was it just a sock and some Vaseline?
Well, I brought plenty of socks, so don't you worry about that. But I had to, give it that. Do the old hawk to So to bring all this stuff, I needed a gigantic backpack.
Yes,
and
I
that
remember.
was Alice.
Yeah, you got an Alice pack.
I got an Alice
For
pack.
all the military people
Yeah.
out there know
It
exactly
is
what he's talking about.
right. But if you're not a hunter or a military person, it's a Vietnam era backpack, like the backpacks that look like they're bigger than the soldier carrying them. And Alice stands for all-purpose, lightweight infantry carrying equipment. Yeah. I don't know what they were using before. If they think Alice is lightweight,
I think they just used a backpack.
well, I
Just
mean,
loaded
this is
with
a
lead.
backpack. Yeah, right. It was lead lined. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, ain't nothing light about her. And so I know now, I have a ton of experience with hiking and backpacking now. And, I've learned a lot since then.
But at the time,
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And so it turns out that a pretty heavy pack for backpacking is around 40 pounds.
Okay.
Like if you tell people I'm backpacking, my pack's 40 pounds, they'll be like, dude, you might want to take some stuff out of there. You're overpacking. Alice was over 70 pounds.
So the pack itself weighed 70 pounds?
No, with all
Okay.
the shit that I
Okay.
put in to Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so let me get to the list.
Okay.
This is all the things that I brought. And it's 2 fucking pages.
Yeah.
And you
Are you going to read all 86
I'm going to
things
read.
on there
Yeah,
or
I'll
whatever?
read through quick, but interrupt
Okay.
as you see fit.
Okay.
Okay, first, a fluorescent lantern.
Good choice.
4 extra D batteries.
Okay, those are heavy.
Yeah, they are. And 2 LED flashlights.
Because,
And-
you know, where there's one, there's two, but you already have a lantern, so you probably only one, maybe?
It gets worse.
Okay.
4 spare AA batteries.
Okay,
but,
those are
But,
small.
dude, exactly to your point, and this is already an example of where I went wrong. If I need to get somewhere, if I need to see something, a flashlight is sufficient.
Yeah, one.
I don't need a lantern.
No.
And somewhere later in
Are you
this list,
fucking warning that the redcoats are coming?
somewhere later in this list, there's also a headlamp.
Nice.
And like a headlamp fills all those roles.
Yeah, okay, keep
It's
going.
dude. Okay,
going.
next. 12 complete meals ready to eat. Those military MREs. That's
Okay.
what I was going to bring. to
Okay,
eat.
but those are fairly small and lightweight, right?
They're small, but they're not
bulky.
lightweight because they're fully ready. They're not dehydrated.
Okay.
And because I was camping somewhere near a spring.
So would you say each one of those weighed what, like half pound?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yep. A collapsible 5-gallon water bladder.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
Yeah.
That was a good one. 8 Punch Royal Coronation cigars.
Okay, those
Fine.
were light.
Yeah,
fine.
gotta bring those.
Okay.
Yep. A 2-liter hydration system, like a Camelback. That was a smart move.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. 3 half-liter bottles of water, just extra bottles.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine. A water filter pump.
That's
a
good.
3-subject notebook. So it's a spiral notebook with all this space in it, and this is the kind of thing that's idiotic.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to write a fucking novel while I'm out there.
You could have had like a medium-sized little notepad.
Dude, just,
and-
like a notepad would have
Yeah,
been
probably
more than
sufficient.
sufficient. Like a palm-sized
Yeah,
notepad.
but
that
go
would have
ahead.
been plenty. Yeah, 2 pencils,
Okay.
2
Well,
2 pens,
yeah, okay. You probably
a
didn't
felt
need-
marker.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking idiotic.
Keep going.
A sleeping bag. Okay,
Okay,
that's good. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you're
smart.
gonna
A
need
sleeping
that.
pad. Yeah.
Okay.
A boonie hat, a
Okay.
beanie, and then this may be the worst one of all.
Oh, wait. I know there's some
A
stuff on this
bottle
list.
of
so-
Sauza Tres Generaciones.
Yeah, well,
It's
you know
not
what?
that you don't need the tequila. Of course, I needed the
Yeah, but
tequila.
a small flask would have done
yeah.
well.
Or like put a. I didn't know about them at the time, but like a platypus bag, you can
Yeah.
pour the stuff into there and it's lightweight and it
Yeah.
doesn't spill. But this is in the big fucking glass
yeah,
bottle.
this is like the full glass
yeah,
bottle.
like you get at the grocery
Yeah,
store.
I like
brought that. Yeah. We're not even halfway done yet.
Dude, we're not even close.
12 3-ounce trail mix packets. Reasonable. Okay, now.
But you do have the MREs, but those are consumable. So
Yeah.
in theory, as you eat,
You get lighter. Yeah, and
So-
dude, while I'm packing, I kept thinking that. Like, as I use all this stuff, it gets lighter. But really, the only thing that's going to get lighter is the MREs. So
Yeah.
each one I eat, it'll get 6 ounces lighter.
Sure.
But that's not going to get me.
Nah, not very
It turns
much.
out that doesn't make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we get into the clothing.
Okay.
And if I were going backpacking today, if I was going to do it just by myself for 5 days, I'm wearing hiking pants now.
Yeah.
The number of additional bottom layers that I need is 0.
Yeah,
maybe
well,
one.
maybe
just
one.
in case.
Yeah, just in case you shit yourself.
And then like a shirts for like 3 shirts for 5 days would be fine.
More
the only
than
thing you
enough.
really need is like underwear and extra socks.
Yeah.
So I brought 12 pairs of socks
12
for 5 days.
days.
For 5 days. Yeah,
Yeah.
12 pairs of socks, 8 underwear. This is in addition to what I was wearing. 2 pairs of shorts, 2 shirts, 1 set of thermals, a pair of tennis shoes.
An
and
additional
that's
pair of
it for-
tennis shoes.
An additional pair of tennis shoes,
Yeah,
in addition to the
the
hiking boots that
you
I
were
was
wearing.
wearing, which we'll get to those.
Yeah, you didn't need those extra shoes. That's for sure.
Turns out I didn't need the hiking boots.
Yeah, but hold on,
yeah, we'll
yeah.
get to that. All right, and then so that's it for the clothing. So I mean, credit to me, I only brought 2 shirts, but
Yeah.
the rest is fucking
little,
ludicrous.
little silly.
2 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, because one. I mean, were wet wipes back then kind of a
No,
thing? Probably
not really, no.
So like one roll of toilet paper though,
It'd probably be
would
fine.
have been plenty, dude.
Yeah, and
I
then
mean,
also the move is like you take it off the roll because you don't need like the big cardboard
no, you
tube.
kind of crush it.
Yeah, and so, but dude, 2 full rolls of
Yeah.
toilet paper, dude, out of control. A topographical map. All right, good on me for that one.
Yeah, especially because back then no GPS really.
Yeah,
and things like
yeah,
that.
I didn't have
so,
any of that
yeah.
stuff. All right, and then we get to 4 lighters, like
Yeah.
Bic lighters.
So
4.
it's funny because
Yeah.
you know, my line of work. We're not going to talk about what
Yeah.
I do, but in my line of work, people carry multiple lighters. I
Yeah.
see them all the time,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
always,
like crackheads or meth addicts.
It's always one of those things where it's like, Jesus Christ, like how many lighters do you need?
Yeah.
4 is a lot. 4 is a lot. 1 is plenty.
Part of my rationale for packing like this was
a set of 4 is fine.
I had my Alice pack, but then I also had like a butt pack that I wore, and that was going to be my day pack.
Go ahead.
And so I wanted to make sure that, like, well, if I drop Alice and I have my butt pack, that I still have everything I need to survive.
Yeah.
So I can't just repack, apparently. I have to bring duplicates of everything.
Yeah.
So I have full setups.
Okay.
So in addition to the 4 Bic lighters, which is already ridiculous, I also had 3 books of matches, 1 magnesium fire starter,
Yeah.
and a pack of waterproof matches.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can't even have a campfire out there. It's forbidden. The only thing I brought that I could light on fire was a cigar.
Yeah.
But I kept thinking, like, well, what if I have an emergency and they need to start a fire to survive? And
boy.
And that's where all this dumb shit comes from. Moving on, I had a Gerber multi-tool and a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, the Gerber multi-tool or the Swiss Army knife, either one's sufficient.
Right, exactly. And then I also had a survival tool, which has a compass and a whistle, and that's where the waterproof matches are.
Yeah.
I had an orienteering compass. All right, that's fine.
So you have 2 different compasses?
2 different compasses.
Probably didn't need that.
No, probably sure didn't. 2 books.
Yeah.
2.
What the fuck are you going to read?
At least they were
War and
paperback
Peace?
books.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Incidentally, it was Catch-22 by William Heller, which is a pretty good book.
And Mein Kampf.
Yeah, right. And then No Death, No Fear by Thich Nhat Hanh, because I thought that I might be, like, afraid while I was out there. Turns out I was.
Yeah.
And so that might bring me
We
some
haven't even
peace.
gotten to you start walking yet. This episode's going long, everybody.
I think
Just
it is,
let everybody know.
Yeah. This story used to take 45 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to shorten it today. All right, so anyway, still going.
Yeah.
The tent.
Yeah.
Now we get to the tent. Like, now, mind you, as I'm packing, shit's already full.
Well, and on top of that,
Yep.
back 20 years ago,
Yep.
it's not like they had like little 2-man pop-up tents take 30
I
seconds.
did have actually a fairly small tent.
Okay.
So that was good. But my sleeping pad was like double the size of my tent.
Nice.
And yeah, so I had the sleeping pad. Where am I here? Oh, now I get to I have a headlamp.
Yeah.
Yep. Which would have negated the need for all the other lights.
Uh-huh.
Compact field binoculars. Yep. A camera, because back in the day it wasn't on the phone, so I had to
Sure.
bring like a camera and 6 rolls of film.
6 rolls of film.
6
I mean,
rolls
the
of
West
film.
Rim is pretty pretty.
It is very pretty up there.
Yeah.
You've hiked it with me.
Yes, I did
Yeah.
it with you. I did this hike after
all this happened.
Yeah, I was like, I got to do this shit myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I used 1 roll of film the whole time. So I had 6 rolls of film. Where did I leave off? Oh, a windbreaker. That good.
Okay.
Yeah. A first aid kit. All right, that's a good
Okay.
idea. 2 bottles of DEET, which is insect repellent.
Yeah, so, and that stuff, I have DEET, and I have 100% pure DEET.
Yeah, that's
and like
what I have.
1 spray of that will keep like a bear away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the total number of sprays that I used out of those 2
0.
bottles was 0.
Yeah,
yeah.
0.
There's not like big mosquito problems up there or
No.
anything. I brought a fucking hammer.
Yeah, that's probably... it's not my favorite thing because
Yeah.
I think you brought an entrenching tool, like a World War II
In this
level
case, I only brought a
entrenching tool.
spade. That's
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, a fucking hammer.
Yeah.
Because I thought in
there
my
might
head,
be
it's-
some nails out there.
Well, it's dual purpose because I can use it
as a weapon.
to drive in tent stakes, and I can use it as a weapon in
'cause
case
a rock to
Yeah.
drive in 10 states.
Yeah,
Can't
and a
do
rock
that.
is a weapon too, for
Yeah.
that matter. Work for fucking caveman. All right, 8 full-size tent stakes, which are like the big steel pegs.
Steel ones, yeah.
Yeah, the big steel ones.
Because there could be a hurricane up
Yeah,
there. You need
and
to
then
hold your
the
tent down.
8 useless aluminum tent stakes that the tent comes with. That's another good just the tip for in the
Yeah.
future. A roll of duct tape, the full fucking roll.
Well, you know what?
I wound
though?
up using
this.
it.
This actually became
I did
very
wind
important.
up using
so,
it,
yeah.
but not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. A spade
Yeah.
instead of my trenching shovel, which is good. This one may be the thing that I'm most embarrassed about. 3 space blankets.
Yeah. 'cause-
3.
Were you going
3.
to space?
No, even astronauts don't take 3 space blankets, dude. And the idea, oh my god, if I'm out in an emergency, I can use that to stay alive and keep warm. Yeah, you need 1.
Yeah.
and then you get out of the emergency,
And
or
then
you
you're good.
reuse it.
Yeah.
and fucking 3.
Yeah. Hey, just
Dude.
can't be too
All right, we're
careful.
almost done. A car key and a cigar punch.
Okay.
So that's fine. Yep. 2 trekking poles.
Okay.
Okay. 50 feet of rope. I don't know. Might fall off a cliff or something.
Oh
and 6 feet of twine. Because if I have to do like replace my shoelaces, I actually do still carry 550 cord.
Yeah.
For
like paracord.
Yeah, like paracord. Yeah, that's what it is. Yep. 4 carabiners.
In case you do some rappelling.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then a travel toothbrush and travel toothpaste.
Okay.
See, I'm cutting weight. The contact lens cleaner and solution. 1 sunscreen, which I'm sure was like a big tube.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I never used that either.
No.
And 15 various plastic bags.
Oh my God. Is that the list?
That's the list. That's it, dude. That's all I brought.
Yeah, okay.
It's not much.
And all together, I remember that was around 80 pounds.
Yeah, it was around 80 pounds. Yeah, actually.
Okay,
because
so you haven't even gotten to the guide who drops you
No,
off.
dude,
Because I
that's coming
seem
up
to
next.
remember he told you
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So I get to Springdale, which is the town right outside of Zion. That's where I meet the outfitter. And he goes to put my pack into his van, and he goes to lift it up, and he's like, dude, I'm not lifting that. That's way too heavy. The fucking guy who lifts packs for a living said, no, that's too heavy. He wouldn't even pick it up. And I was going to hike with this thing on my back. And I vaguely remember him saying something about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm a pretty strong guy.
Yeah.
It's all downhill. You know, I should be fine.
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mind your fucking business. Maybe a guy who can carry a pack like that you shouldn't fuck with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and it starts out easy. We get up to the trailhead, and he can't take me all the way to the trailhead because there's snow.
Yeah,
but it's only like a mile in to get to the first
but that's
campsite.
an additional mile on what is
so
already
now-
like a 15-mile
Yeah,
hike.
so it adds a mile to the beginning,
Yeah.
but it takes it from like 1.5 miles to 2.5 miles or something like that
Yeah.
to get to the first campsite, which is easy peasy.
Yeah,
no
sure.
problem. Anybody could do that, and it is all downhill.
Yeah.
So I'm going down the hill. My lungs are fine. My legs feel fine. I feel strong. But one of the things that I noticed right away is that
pack is heavy.
well, the pack is heavy, but that's not bothering me yet.
Yeah.
Is that my boots that I'm wearing are just a little bit too big.
Yeah, and so there's a little friction.
There's a little friction. Going downhill, my feet are brakes, and just like any other brakes, when you use them for stopping, they get hot.
Yeah.
That's right. And so every step, I'm getting this little friction every single step. My foot's rubbing inside the boot from a number of different angles.
Yeah.
And the added weight, you know, it's like trying to stop a Fiat versus trying to stop an 18-wheeler.
Yeah,
it takes a lot more friction to stop
Exactly.
that 18-wheeler. Yeah. And so I get down, I get to my first campsite, and no problem. I get there. There's lots of time left in the day.
Yeah.
No big deal. Everything's cool. And I take off my boot just to see what's going on because I can feel it's uncomfortable. And, dude, in anticipation of this, I was looking at my old pictures.
Yeah.
And, dude, that first blister,
was like a legit
it was
blister.
fucking big, dude. It
Yeah.
was like on the side of my toe, on my big toe, and it was like the whole side of the toe.
Yeah, and so now at this point...
And it was already broken.
Day one.
Day one.
Right?
Yeah.
You have this big-ass blister.
Yeah.
And you're about how far in? A couple of miles, right?
Yeah, I'm like 2 miles in. I still have like 15 miles to go.
And so for everybody, you know, I know they were listening,
Yeah.
but he's dropped off, and there's not civilization
Yeah.
anywhere
Until I
at this
get-
point.
until
you
I
have to
finish.
hike all the way back
Yeah.
down until this thing is complete.
Right.
So now, at this point, were you thinking like this is a problem or no?
No, because the idea was I was going to spend 2 days,
At
two
this
nights at
first-
this first campsite.
Yeah.
And then I would move to my next campsite, which was about a little over halfway back, and then spend 2 nights there.
Yeah,
And so I
then,
got plenty of time to recover and,
Sure.
you know,
It-
heal
it's
up.
just
and
a little
It's just a
blister.
blister. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's no big deal, right? I can cover it up, put a Band-Aid on it. You know, don't be a pussy. It's
Yeah.
fine. But it was a big fucking blister, dude.
Yeah.
And it had already busted off and
Sure.
dude,
It's open. It's now an open wound.
it's an open wound. That's
Yeah.
right. And again, now as an experienced hiker, looking at that old picture of that blister,
Yeah.
it was fucking bad.
Okay,
Dude,
so-
it was a bad blister.
All right.
But whatever. I ain't no fucking pussy.
Yeah, you're a fucking man.
Yeah. And so now I go and I get water and I get set up for camp.
And once you got the pack off,
yeah, it's fine.
walk-ins probably
Yeah, walk-ins not a big deal.
not so bad.
Right?
Even
yeah,
with
I
the
gotta,
blister.
yeah.
Did you put a Band-Aid or anything?
I'm pretty sure I put a Band-Aid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. It was in my first aid kit,
Yeah.
I assume. So then I go, I set up camp, I set my tent up. I got a folding chair, which I don't think I even mentioned on here. There's some kind of
big
chair I
plastic
must have
folding chair.
brought. Yeah. I brought a fucking
a
lazy
picnic
boy
chair.
with me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, I don't even remember what I did for a chair. But yeah, I must have had something.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and then I sit down and it's like 4 o'clock probably,
Sure.
or, you know, and I suddenly have nothing to do.
Well, you got 2 books.
I do have 2 books.
Cigars and
I got cigars.
and a shitload of tequila.
Yeah, so I light up a cigar, I start reading the book, and by the time I finish with the cigar, okay, 45 minutes later, now what?
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there.
Yeah.
And again, at that age, it doesn't agree
Alone,
with me.
alone with your thoughts.
Yeah, and also, this is the first time I've ever been like outside civilization.
Well, and also like just alone in like the silence of the wilderness outside of the wind or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's like fucking desolate.
Yeah,
and there's no one within screaming distance. And I know,
so
like,
that's a good time to beat your dick.
yeah, exactly. Right there in the open. Take that, you motherfucker.
Scream all you want. Nobody's coming to help you.
That's right. And so I sit there like throughout the rest of the day, and it gets darker, and eventually the sun sets, and then it gets scary.
Yeah.
Because now it's dark out.
Well, and so...
And I only have like 6 lights.
Yeah. So now back in another episode, in Andre's episode, we talk about Nightmare Dark. And how
like
pitch
when we
black
went
it is
to
out there.
Navajo Lake.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so I would imagine out there...
It's abjectly dark.
Yeah, it's like you can't see the tree 2 feet away.
I don't remember
so dark.
what like the moon or star situation was.
Yeah.
If it's cloudy, anybody who lives out in the country knows that like if it's cloudy, then there's just nothing.
Yeah.
It's
but,
dark.
But maybe you had some moonlight and then...
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember that
now,
aspect
did
of
you
it.
use your lantern at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I would have had my lantern on.
Okay, so go ahead.
But more importantly, what I did was just crawl into my tent.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
And then put the light on in there and just wait for sleep to come.
Sure, yeah.
But, dude, when you're scared and when there's, like, noises outside, sleep don't come. Instead, I'm laying there in the tent. I'm trying to, like, read this book. And I have my air horn, because that was on the list, too. I brought 2 air horns.
2?
You know, like the one you bring to the football game. It goes, yeah, exactly.
Just
because that'll scare off an animal.
Sure.
You know, so I had 2 air horns. So I've got, like, my air horn right next to my pillow. Fuck, I don't think I even listed a pillow. Maybe I used a jacket or something. I probably brought a big fucking foam Tempur-Pedic pillow. Dude. So, and I have the hammer right there, too. And I think at one point, I even probably pulled out the spade, just in case. Like, maybe I can sharpen this.
Jesus Christ.
And, dude, there's nothing out there. There's no fucking bears.
No.
Right? And
like, the biggest thing is probably like a raccoon or something. You know?
And, dude, that comes to my mind. Yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck, what if there's a raccoon? Like, I'd hear this rustling outside the tent. What if it's a raccoon?
How am I going to fight this fucking raccoon?
And then my rational mind would kick in and, like, dude, I'm sure I could take a raccoon. But it didn't matter. I was just scared. And so, at this point, I had this realization that the peace and tranquility that I came out here for, I ain't getting it.
No.
This is not what I signed up for. And I've got 3 more nights ahead of me after this. Fuck that.
Okay, so
we're still night 1.
Okay,
and I make the decision.
What's the decision at this point?
The decision is I'm just hiking out tomorrow.
Okay, so at this point, even one night in, you're like, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, this ain't for me.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yep.
I'm just going to hike all the way out.
Yep.
Which is now roughly another 13 miles.
Yeah, 13 miles. But mostly
all
downhill. Yeah, so it should be fine.
Right, go ahead.
So the next morning, I get up.
And what time? Do you remember what time you woke up?
Before the sun.
Okay, so you get up and it's still the
I probably got like
up.
2 hours of sleep, and then just finally woke up when I thought it was light enough to be safe to get out of the tent.
Okay, so you get up, you pack up.
I pack up.
And
I have
now you got to get
nutritious
Alice
breakfast.
back on.
Yeah.
And you got to put your shoe back on. How was your blister at that point?
Bad.
Okay.
But, oh well.
Okay, but so you do it. You put it on.
Yeah, and I got a Band-Aid on it, and I think it's probably not going to get much worse.
Okay.
And I put Alice back on, and holy fuck.
Yeah.
Alice is heavy. Now, there's things that you guys need to know about Alice. Alice does not include a waist belt, at least not the type that's supportive, like what backpackers wear today, where you have this big broad belt that goes over your hips and it puts the weight on your hips instead of on your shoulders. So not only is Alice fully supported by my shoulders, but there's also no chest strap for Alice. And so all the weight is just pulling back.
Yeah, backwards.
On my, backwards.
Like
on my
low
shoulders.
spine.
Yeah, exactly. And so once I shoulder Alice, now I'm starting to feel this pulling on my arms, and that makes it harder to use my trekking poles. I have to use strength to hold on Alice. And now, like, every time that I stop, I have to, like, cross my arms and hold them together to do the work that the chest strap is supposed to be doing, the chest strap that doesn't exist. In hindsight, I should have used some of that 6 feet of twine and just made my own chest strap or some rope. Yeah. But, well, you know, if I was smart, none of this shit would have happened.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get back on the trail.
Yeah.
And I'm cruising along, and it's flat ground, and all right, this isn't so bad. I can do this. I'm going to get out today. This is going to be no problem. Oh, and the other thing is I had drank my water, but I refilled it at the spring. But what I didn't think about, when I drank my disposable water bottles, I crushed them.
Yeah.
And that made them a lot harder to refill.
Sure.
When I realized I needed to refill these bottles.
Yeah.
And so I have less water. Now I have 3.5 liters of water, which is a pretty good amount of water. And I start hiking, but the problem is, A, I'm not in shape.
Yeah.
B, I'm not in any kind of shape.
Yeah.
B,
You were in a shape. It
yeah,
just
there
wasn't-
was round. Yeah. Cylindrical at best. It's warm. It's getting warmer. I'm working very hard because this pack is so heavy. And so I'm going through the water fairly quickly. But it's all right. Again, it's downhill.
Yeah.
I have like 10 miles to get to my next water source.
Sure, which is pretty far.
It's pretty far.
Yeah.
But it feels very achievable to me. Even if I hike 2 miles an hour, that's 5 miles.
Yeah, it's
or 5
5
hours.
hours.
Yeah,
it's
it's doable. It's doable. So after I get off of this plateau, it's called Horse Pasture Plateau. It goes down into a place called Potato Hollow.
Yeah.
And I realize as I'm going down, like, oh, downhill is a bit of a problem.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
I'm feeling it now on my feet.
Yeah.
And I can feel the same wet feeling of that first blister. I'm starting to feel in other places on my feet. Mm-hmm. And I know this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, this
But
now-
fuck it. I'm getting out today, so
Yeah, like,
oh
yeah.
well.
Well, yeah, you just gotta tough
put your
it
head
out.
down.
Let's
keep
fucking
going.
do it. Yeah, grind.
Yeah. And as I'm going down into Potato Hollow, I'm looking across the canyon, and I can see the trail that goes up the other side.
Yeah.
And I realize, like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to climb.
Yeah, and I remember it's
right from when you did it.
It's about almost a half mile
Probably.
up that hill.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Right, of steady
And
ascent.
it's fairly steep.
Yeah,
and
it
there's
goes up.
one section I remember being like
Yep.
real steep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hill just keeps going.
Yes.
Like, fuck, man, it's a long way to get back up here. Because after that, you get onto the actual West Rim,
Yeah,
which is
which is
the
very
goal.
scenic.
It is extremely scenic.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
So I get all the way to the bottom of Potato Hollow, and there's a spring indicated on the map. And I think, well, I'll look around. Maybe I can at least refill a little. No, that spring's dry, which
Yeah.
I figured it would be, but there
Yep.
was that hope. And now
Sure.
that hope is gone. But that's fine. I didn't drink a lot of water on my way down because I knew I'd have to climb back up. So I start climbing back up, and this is where fitness really
Starts to
becomes
really
an
pay
issue.
off, yeah.
Or not pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts to really cost me.
Yeah.
Because now I'm going uphill, and I'm working so hard going up this hill, keeping the pack on my back, keeping my momentum forward.
Well, and trudging at this point.
Carrying all this weight uphill
Yeah.
on feet that are now feeling pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And I go, where it starts to really start climbing, where I'm going 50 yards, and I got to stop.
Yeah, 'cause
take a
it's-
break.
yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Legs are shot.
And then I'm going 20 yards.
Yeah.
And I got to stop and take a break. And I'm flying through the water.
Uh-huh.
And I'm still climbing.
Oh yeah, you got probably half of that hill.
Yeah,
left.
still to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as I think I'm nearing the top, and okay, I'm home free, I run out of water. Yeah. And I've probably gone 3 miles
Yeah.
of the 10 that I
yeah,
have to go to get to the next spring, and maybe 4. And this does not bode well.
No.
But now I've done it, right? I've gotten out. I'm up on top of the West Rim. It's still mostly flat now. And then I'm hiking right on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly scenic. Guys, I tell you, this is the most scenic place I've ever hiked in my entire life.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing up
It's
there.
fucking incredible.
Yeah,
There's these big vistas, these huge sandstone monoliths, all these different colors, these wide open views. It's really incredible. But the trail runs like right on the cliff for a while. And I know, I'm exhausted. The pack makes me unsteady because now, like, if I turn, the pack swings.
Yes.
And that's not good.
No.
And I know at that time, just basic survival, that when you start getting dehydrated, one of the first negative effects is concentration and decision making.
Yeah.
And so, like, dude, I can wind up compounding these
All these problems, yes.
and wind up doing something really stupid. And so I think, well, I'm going to do something smart instead. There's all this cactus around, and there's specifically a cactus called beaver tail, which is a prickly pear cactus, and it's called beaver tail because the pads don't have those big spikes on them like other cactus have. And so I'm like, oh, dude, this is like Wile E. Coyote cactus. I could just peel the skin off and suck the moisture out. Yeah. Well, pro tip, guys, that's not a thing. No, you can't cut open the cactus and there's a bowl of water sitting inside of it. It ain't like that. So the cactus inside is just this sticky pulp that is not moisturizing at all. If it had a bunch of moisture, it wouldn't be a fucking cactus in the fucking desert.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how cactus works.
And it's using whatever moisture it has to keep
just
itself
to not
alive.
die. Yeah, exactly. It ain't trying to give it to me. So, A, no fucking moisture. B, beaver tail cactus does in fact have spikes on it. All fucking over it. They're just really small.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Yeah, and so now I got a bunch of little spikes in my hands and in my mouth. And I am not hydrated.
And thirsty.
No, I'm still thirsty. Yeah, good times. So I keep hiking, and the trail kind of meanders. It goes up a little bit, it goes down a little bit, but nothing real steep. And I feel like I can do this, but it's getting hotter as time goes on, and my dehydration is becoming more of an issue.
Yeah, well, and there's that doubt. Doubt creeps in.
Yeah, because I don't really, this is the first time I've ever hiked it. I don't really know how far it is. I don't really know what the terrain is going to be like. I can look on the map, but it doesn't really show defined details.
Well, and also, as things start to get shitty, as things get uncomfortable, it snowballs.
Oh, yeah, with morale.
Yeah, morale starts to really drop, and you start to really question everything.
Even with this beautiful scenery off to one side of the trail, I'm just kind of glancing at it. And, that's cool.
Well, because now it's you start to switch into
survival
just
mode.
Get it done mode.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so it comes to a head, and I kind of am tracking my pace, and I realize that if I keep hiking at this pace, because now I'm tired enough that even on the flat ground, I'm having to take breaks. It's going to take me a really long time to get to the next spring.
Yes.
And so I have a decision to make. What am I going to do so that I don't die?
Yeah.
And because there's no other people out here either.
No, that's it. And the West Rim, it's not a hike people do from the top down.
Right. Usually people come in from Central Zion.
And they hike to kind of
They hike to Angel's Landing or to Scout Lookout.
They go over Angel's Landing, then they'll hike down into that little canyon.
Yeah.
And that's
about it. Yeah. Because after that, there's a huge climb up to get on top of West Rim.
Yeah, and they're not trying to
do that. Yeah. So I'm not seeing anybody. Yeah. I'm out there by myself, and I need to get to this next spring, or I might die. And so I make the decision. I stop at this place on the trail that has this huge tree stump right next to the trail. I'm just, all right, this is like a landmark. So I take Alice off, and I set her on the tree stump, and I take out the notebook that I have and the marker. See, I should have brought a felt marker, because I take the marker and I write on the notebook,
I am dumb.
Headed for West Rim Spring, ran out of water, send help.
Yeah.
And I set that up. I put it inside a big plastic bag in case it rains.
Did you cry while you wrote that?
Probably. I set it up on Alice, and then I repack my day pack with every water container I have, except for the 5-gallon collapsible. And my water filtration, some snacks, a space blanket, and
you're going to set out now on an expedition.
I'm going to set out on an expedition to try to get to the spring. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I did I even mention that I ate the people I came with?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I leave Alice behind, and now my mission is just get to the spring, get water, and then whatever happens after that, at least I'll live.
Yeah.
And so I start heading down the trail, and dude, it feels like I'm hiking on
clouds?
The moon.
Yeah. No weight.
I'm bounding down the trail, and it's so easy. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking glorious. Oh, this is the best hiking ever. And so I head on, and it's still many miles to get. We're talking a couple hours of hiking to get to this spot. And obviously,
has it dawned on you yet that you'll have to hike back?
Oh, yeah. The whole time I'm thinking that. Because it starts going downhill as it approaches the rim and the cliff. And I'm thinking, like, dude, if I go back to Alice, I'm going to have to hike back up all this shit that I'm hiking down. And at least I won't have Alice with me.
Yeah.
But it's still going up does not sound very appealing at the moment.
And how's your feet at this point? What would you say?
Terrible.
Terrible?
Awful.
Like every step hurts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, every step hurts. It's not excruciating, but it is. I can tell that every step is doing more damage.
Okay.
Yeah. So, obviously, I eventually get there. I get to the spring, and at the spring, it was the most beautiful, poetic thing. There's a vulture.
Yeah.
Just waiting for me.
Holding your sign.
Yeah. And he's like,
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, I knew where you were going. Yeah. You want to go ahead and collapse so I can start pecking your eyes out? And not today, vulture, you motherfucker. You're not getting me that easy. I ain't going down like that, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I take my water filter out, I put it in the spring, and I just start pumping. And pumping it directly into my mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm just
dirty
guzzling
girl.
water. Oh, yeah. It's all dripping down my chin and down the small of my back for some reason. So I drink as much as I possibly can until I'm satisfied. Then I fill up my water bottles, and then I have some lunch, and then I drink more water as much as I can, refill my water bottles, and now, like, it's getting to be later in the day.
Yeah.
And now
It's time to hike back.
well, it's decision time. Ooh. Because there's 3 things I can do.
This is like a road to glory.
Yeah, that's right. See, the athletic advisor texted me, and they're like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
So I could either hike back to Alice,
Yeah.
which you keep mentioning because...
Spend 3 energy.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, spend 3 energy, hike back to Alice. Yeah, and it's going to reduce my injury for the next game. Or... and, you know, for very good reasons that we've already discussed, that does not appeal to me.
No, it's, yeah.
I can hang out there for the night and hope that things are better
And
in the
you have
morning.
a space blanket.
I have the space blanket. That's right. And I'm just going to huddle under the space blanket right near the spring so that I won't die.
And cry
because I
yourself
also
to
know,
sleep.
right, and cry myself to sleep. Because I also know that the water that I have here, like my disposable water bottles that I can't fully reshape, you know, that's all the water I have.
Sure.
And that's going to have to get me back to Alice.
And then
back
here
to
again.
the spring, presumably with Alice the next day. And, like, I don't know if I can do that. And I just keep drinking more. Or I can just say, fuck it, hike all the rest of the way out.
Fuck all that shit back
Fuck
there
all
with
that
Alice.
shit. I'm just going to go.
Somebody else will use it.
Yeah. Alice can be brought out by helicopter one day. Like, they have to get one of them big cargo helicopters to bring Alice out.
A Huey.
Right. Yeah. So
Also a Vietnam era.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, or it's the Chinook, the CH-46 or 47. All right, so anyway, so ultimately I decide to hike back to Alice.
Yeah.
Because now I'm feeling a little bit better. Morale is not suffering like it was. I think I had, like, one of my MREs had, like, a good dessert that I liked, and so I'm like, oh, I'll have that. You know, it'll make me feel better. And I had those dry fucking crackers.
Yeah.
And so I decide I'm going to hike back up to Alice. And the good news is it's not that bad hiking back up without Alice on.
Sure.
And on top of that, it's attacking my feet from a different angle.
Okay.
And so that's not as bad either. And I could kind of hike on parts of my feet that haven't been blistered up yet.
And you're not using the brakes.
Right, exactly. Not using the brakes. So I get back up there, and I notice that right maybe a quarter mile from where I left Alice, there's a campsite.
Yeah.
That's intended for backcountry, you know, for this journey. My second night campsite was supposed to be where I first started, but fuck that, that's long gone. And my third and fourth nights were supposed to be right down by that other spring. And so this is one that I wasn't authorized to use, but dude,
Who's going to stop you?
Yeah,
and if he comes, great.
Yeah, exactly. If a ranger comes and writes me a ticket, that'll be the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. Will you help me carry this, please?
It'll probably
You bring
say,
a
"Fuck
horse.
you."
Yeah. So I set up camp right there that night. So all right, this is what I'm doing at least for tonight. And I get my tent all set up, and it's not too bad. And then I get into the tent to settle down for the night. And the nice thing about the second night is it's not nearly as scary.
Sure, because now you've done it once.
Because I've done it once, and I'm completely exhausted.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to take my boots off.
Oh, yeah.
And I take the boot off, and the sock is soaked.
Sure. In
with blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, soaked in blood. Take the other boot off, and that sock is soaked in blood. And I peel the socks off, and I'm sure some flesh comes with the sock. And, dude, it's hamburger.
Yeah.
It is so bad that I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk at all.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid, like, put my boots back on the next day.
Fuck all that.
So, but because they've been, like, soaking in blood all day, everything's also, like, wet and, like, you know, like when you're in the pool for too long.
Yeah,
and
it's like soft.
Yeah, the skin's
skin
all like
is-
that,
yeah.
too. And so what I decide is that I'm going to not put socks on
And
and
let
I'm
it
just
air
going to
out.
let it air out and try
Sure.
to dry or, you know, whatever. And so that's it. It hurts like a motherfucker, but I'm so exhausted, I go to sleep.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and if you just sit still,
Right. Yeah, that's exactly
like
right.
the pain does stop.
Yeah,
you
as
know,
long as you're not doing anything to it.
or
Yeah.
There's not a 1 mile per hour wind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, one time I farted too hard and it blew down, then, oh, motherfucker. So anyway, it's nighttime. I fall asleep. It's peaceful. All right. And then I wake up to the craziest fucking thing. There is
A vulture.
jet flying over my tent. Flying over my tent. Like, what the fuck? I'm out in the wilderness. Why in the world is there low-flying jets out here?
They're probably looking for you.
And yeah, they're rescue jets, yeah. And then it passes, and then I hear it again a little further off, and then I see this blinding flash, and I realize, oh, that's thunder.
Yeah.
And then the torrential rainstorm comes. And thank God I have a good tent that
Sure.
keeps all the water out. And thank God I didn't decide to stay under a fucking space blanket
Yeah.
down by the spring. And so I'm like, all right, well, at least I'm safe and sound in here. I go back to bed.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, wake up the next morning feeling okay until I look at my feet
And dude,
and
like
like
shiny feet because it's
yeah,
like it's got the like that.
that glaze over
Yeah.
it of dude. And so I unzip the door of my tent and I look out and there's like dew on the grass and there's a little family of deer like right outside the
Aw.
tent chewing on. Oh, this is fucking nice. This is the tranquility that I signed up for. Until I try to move and realize, like, oh my God, I got a fucking disaster on my hands. And then now the decision-making process starts again. Like, am I going to stay here and try to recover? You know, maybe I can heal up a little bit before I
but
head
you're
out.
talking. I mean, honestly, at that point with the feet,
Yeah.
I
It's not
remember-
going to heal overnight.
I remember seeing your feet in the aftermath.
Yeah.
The audience here can't see your feet, but
Right.
we're not to there yet, so I don't
Right.
want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But let's just put it this way: his feet were fucked.
Yeah, they were fucked. And, you know, and I have these concerns of maybe infection's going to set in
Yeah.
or swelling,
Which is-
and I'm not going to be able to get out.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, water is like 3 miles away.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you cannot just
I can't
like,
just stay
bed
there.
down here and say like,
Right.
well, I'll just stay 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, I'll ration my food and I'll stay for
Yeah.
2 weeks, and
Right.
maybe somebody will send out a search party for me
Right.
or whatever, and I'll just, you know, like
Yeah, it's
like
off the table.
batten down the hatches.
And
kind
so,
of thing.
guys, this is where everything changed for me as a human being.
Okay.
Because
Now
as
we're
a
getting
kid,
we're
this
48
is the moral of the
minutes
story. Oh,
in.
shit, we are.
Oh, dude, we're going for
Yeah.
dude. We're
Yeah.
in now, dude. Just keep
All right.
fucking. Okay.
No, so tune in for part 2 when I
No.
So now, as a kid, or essentially every day of my life up until this day, up
Yeah.
until that day, that's when you quit.
Sure.
And you just sit down and like, well, I ain't going any further. I'm done with this
I
shit.
die.
Yeah, fuck this shit. I'm out. I guess I die here. But in that situation, when that's taken off the table, you know, like as a kid, you just sit down and you know you're a parent.
Yeah.
I guess you're carrying your kid now.
Yeah, you pick your kid up.
You
do
pick
what
your
you
kid
gotta
up
do.
and you do what you got to do. But as the kid, like you could just quit and oh well, somebody else will carry you.
Yeah.
I didn't have that option.
No.
And if I sit down, I'm gonna die one way or the other.
Yeah.
Exposure or infection.
Raccoon attack.
Raccoon attack. Yeah, I mean, presumably at some point another human will come by. I don't know how long it's going
That
to
could
be.
dude. Honestly, out
It could be
there,
a week.
It could be a week.
It could be
easy.
a week. Yeah, nowadays that trail probably gets fairly regular traffic.
Yeah, but
not
then-
back then.
no.
Yep. And so I have to go.
Yeah.
And so now the only question is like, okay, how far am I going to go, and how am I going to physically be able to walk?
Well, and also, dude, you have
Yep.
to kind of overcome, right, the sunk cost fallacy. Because you
Elaborate on that.
so you have all this gear, and I
Yep.
know you.
Yep.
You ain't thinking, I'll just leave all this behind and take the
No,
L.
because it's also litter.
Right. Well, but I know you well enough
Yeah.
to know that you, in your head, you're still thinking like, I can't just take this loss and leave it like whole. Like, I'll just hike out with only with what I need and get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Like, if I can take my pack, I will.
Exactly. Maybe I'll leave some stuff behind.
Well,
try to cut some weight.
Right. But also, if I can't make it all the way out, I need to bring my infrastructure.
Yeah.
And so I make that decision. I'm going to have to bring Alice with me. So I got to pack everything up. But what am I going to do about my feet? And this is where the duct tape comes in.
Hell yeah.
I had seen this on what was that survival race show? That
it used to be not.
It's not The Amazing Race,
no.
but it's like
it was
Adventure Racers.
It was Eco Challenge.
Eco Challenge.
Yeah.
And I saw people duct tape their feet when they would get bad blisters, and I'm like, well, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do.
Yeah.
And so I take my big full roll of duct tape, and I start wrapping my foot and just putting it around these big gashes of hamburger on my feet.
And if you can't duck it, fuck it.
That's right. If you can't duck it, fuck it.
Yep. Can't be fixed.
That's right. And so this is my only choice. So that's what I do. And I know that I'm going to have to pay the piper, that at some point that duct tape's going to have to come off.
Yeah.
But until then, if I don't do this...
Yeah, then the ultimate piper.
Yeah, I ain't getting out.
No.
That's it. I can either get out and it's going to suck now and it's going to suck bad later, or I can just stay here and die.
Yeah, you got to kick that can of suck down the road.
That's right. That's tomorrow's problem.
Yeah.
That sounds like tomorrow's problem. So I duct tape my feet. I put my socks on. I put my boots on, which is not pleasant.
Yeah.
And then I shoulder Alice.
Oh, Jesus.
And, dude, it's fucking agony. It hurts so goddamn bad. I mean, imagine, dear listener, literally taking a cheese grater to your foot.
Yeah.
And just grinding it for a while and then put on a heavy fucking pack and walk. That's what I was dealing with.
And you're having to walk now. How far is the exit?
To get all the way out, it's probably another 6 miles.
6 miles?
Yeah, probably about 6 miles.
Okay.
And it's a lot of steep terrain.
Yeah.
So I start hiking, and cardio-wise, I'm actually feeling a little stronger. Or maybe I just don't notice because my feet hurt so fucking bad. That's all I can think about.
It's probably all you can think about.
But the nice thing is now this portion of trail I've hiked before.
Sure.
And so I know roughly how far it is to get to the spring.
Which is actually like a morale booster.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because it's not just into the unknown and how miserable is it going to be. I know how miserable it's going to be, and I can kind of prepare for it.
But at least you understand, there's a spring, and it's this far
away. And it
away.
has water.
Yeah.
So I get down to the spring, and this ain't... So it's horrible, but I've achieved it.
Yeah.
I get there, and I know also I got to just drink as much water as I possibly can. And I know that once I get into Inner Zion, there's going to be people.
Yeah.
And people
You're probably
will be able
only
to help.
2, maybe 3 miles away from
That's
definitely
exactly
being
right.
able to make
for sure
people.
finding people. Yeah, and then they'll be able to give me water or
whatever.
Whatever. Right, exactly. So okay, cool.
Hand job.
That'd be nice. That'd have been real nice. So I get down there, and I can also see that this area has suffered torrential rain.
Yeah.
And I think again, dude, what a disaster that would have been. But what I don't know is right ahead of me is as soon as you leave that spring, now it's West Rim Cliff.
Yeah.
And it's this cliff that was blasted into the side of this sandstone cliff. The trail is blasted in, and with dynamite, and you're just on the fucking cliff. And the top of the trail hangs over.
And it's a switchback.
And it's switchbacks that just go down the face of this fucking cliff.
And it's probably, it's got to be 400.
I would guess at
to
least
500
400 or
feet
500 feet
tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of sheer cliff.
Yeah. And so and there's no guardrail.
No.
If you step too far to the side, that's it. You're going over and you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to die for sure. And so I'm trying to hug
and it's only if I remember, man, 2.5 feet wide.
It's
maybe.
narrow.
Yeah.
It's narrow enough that I'm trying to hug the inside, the wall side.
Yeah, because you cannot walk shoulder to shoulder with somebody on there.
Absolutely
no.
not.
It's it's wide
it's
enough for
file.
one person.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's another foot, and that's about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the problem is I'm walking up against the wall, and sometimes the backpack will hit the wall and it'll swing a little bit, and I'm so goddamn exhausted and hurting, and so I have to stutter step to catch myself, and then my feet, oh my god, it's fucking agony.
Yeah.
But I do it.
Yeah.
I get down.
It's amazing how that pain can bring focus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then when I get down, there's a little footbridge that you have to go over to get, to the next spot. And I see a drowned rat in the footbridge. And I'm like, dude, that would have been me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't stay out last night. But now I can actually see Inner Zion. And I'm like, dude,
I can make it.
I think I can make it.
Sure.
I still have a good amount of water. I've got,
Yeah.
I've got like 9 pairs of socks left. I've still got half a bottle of tequila.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now hold on. So
Yeah.
prior to this, had you ever hiked up to Angel's Landing?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand what's coming.
Yeah.
The way down from Angel's Landing.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Don't skip ahead.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say
Go ahead.
it's not a short trip.
No.
If you hike from the bottom up to the top of Angel's Landing,
Yeah.
it's not like
It ain't an easy hike.
45 feet and you're there. It's a
Right.
That in
There's-
itself is an effort-filled adventure.
There's still a lot of difficulty ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I know coming down from the cliff, like to get up to Angel's Landing, and then above it, there's a place called Scout Lookout and Scout Slick Rock, which is the top of the inner cliffs. And that's much higher than where I am now.
Yes.
And so I know I still have another big climb ahead of me.
Yep. It's like the final big climb, too.
Yeah, it is the final big climb. And so I'm going in, and I can see in the distance, I can see cliffs now that I know are the other side of Zion Canyon. And so I know I'm getting close, but like it never feels like it's getting closer.
Okay, so how's your feet now with the duct tape?
The duct tape is helping.
Yeah, because it's A, providing a barrier
Right.
with your shoes.
Right. It makes like
And
a slick
B,
barrier. It takes
it's
the
like,
heat down.
It's the friction is kind of gone. The wounds are at least
Right.
covered.
Right, exactly.
You know,
it's stabilized.
Yeah,
I
it's
would
like
say.
at this point you're no longer doing. At least you may still be doing damage,
But
it's
nowhere
not
near what
at
I was
the
doing.
pace.
Right. I'm not making it a lot worse.
Yeah.
It's not going to get worse until the duct tape has to come
Sure.
off. But yeah, it is serving its intended purpose. And so I finally get to where the next uphill is to get up to Scout Lookout. And now I know, exactly as you said, this is the final push.
Yeah.
Once I get up there, I'm home free.
So okay, and you still have Alice at
Yeah,
this point.
still have Alice.
And Alice, you've been eating, drinking, whatever.
Alice is maybe 2 pounds lighter.
Oh goddamn.
Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Right? That part of my planning, I severely underestimated.
Okay, so go on.
Yeah. So now I start heading uphill, and dude, the toll of now this is day 3.
Yes.
The toll of the previous 2 days catches me.
Oh, how could it not?
Yeah. And so now, even on these parts that aren't terribly steep, I'm going 30 feet at a time.
Oh, yeah.
Have to stop, catch my breath, lean on my trekking poles, cross my arms. Because also I've had 3 days of Alice trying to rip my fucking shoulders off. And that's now gotten the better of me. And my feet. And I'm a fucking disaster, dude. And I'm going up the hill, and then I see humans coming the other direction.
Yeah.
Backpackers. And it's 2 cute girls.
Oh.
Like, oh, fuck yeah.
I'm getting
this
laid.
is great. Yeah, I'm about to fuck. And so they come down and they stop and we chat for a little bit. And they're like, yeah, we're going backpacking. We're doing the Western Trail, but we're doing it in the other direction, which to me is insane. Like,
Yeah.
they're going all uphill the
bitch
whole
is
way.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. You bitches is tripping. And they say, but we feel so silly. Like, we brought our stove and we know there's water up there, but we forgot to bring a lighter. Do you have a lighter we can borrow? I'm like, dude, do I ever have... Yeah. What kind of lighter do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want a Bic? Do you want a Torch? Do you want one? And so all they take, sadly, was just one lighter.
Yeah. And now you're
yeah.
1 ounce lighter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, thank
Yeah.
God. And then I asked him, like, hey, how much further is it to the top to get to Scout Lookout? And like, oh, it's like 20 minutes. You're pretty much there.
Oh, God.
Dude, they were so goddamn wrong.
Yeah.
From their perspective, I'm sure that was true. But at the pace that I was going, I think it took me 1.5 hours, 2 hours to finally get up to that point.
Thanks, sugar tits.
Yeah, exactly. I smacked them each in the ass as they walked past me. Yeah. And so then I finally get up there, and now, dude, I really feel home free. You know, that fuck, I did it. I'm now seeing people. I'm okay. And so from Scout Slick Rock, I go down to Scout Lookout, then I go down to Angel's Landing.
Yeah.
And this is where the turnoff is to go out onto the cliffs where people fall off a couple times a year and die.
like 4 a year.
I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
And then after Angel's Landing is something you referenced earlier,
Yes.
Walter's Wiggles.
Yeah.
Walter's Wiggles is another section of trail that's blasted into the side of a cliff, and it's these really short, really steep
Yeah, they're maybe like
switchbacks.
10 to 12 feet long, and then you turn around
and
you
they're
go down.
really
Yeah.
steep. And
Or maybe they're longer, 15, 20
yeah,
feet.
whatever it is. But you can see pictures of them. It's
Yeah.
called Walter's Wiggles. And so I'm heading down. I'm in between Angel's Landing and Walter's Wiggles. And there's like a cliff on one side. And I have my back against the cliff. And I'm just sitting there like trying to recover myself because it's still awful.
Yeah.
And now this steep downhill is fucking my feet up all over again. And this nice couple, this older couple from Colorado, stops to chit chat with me. And they say, hey, you're looking pretty rough. And I tell them a little bit about, where I've come from and what I'm doing. And the husband says, well, I used to be an adventure racer, so I kind of have a sense of what you're going through. Why don't you let me carry your pack for you? And I say, nah, I can't do that. I know you guys are going up to Angel's Landing. So I'll tell you what, why don't you guys go do Angel's Landing, finish your hike. And on the way down, when I'm like 30 more feet down the trail,
you can just...
if you run into me, you can do it then.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, that's cool. And so they start heading back up the trail, and I go to head down, and the guy says, stop. And so I stop. I don't need an excuse to stop. And he says, you look pretty rough, and we know there's Walter's Wiggles ahead of you. Please let me carry your pack. And I'm like, no, dude, I'll be here, on your way back. So I go to leave again. And this time the wife says, stop. And she goes, we know there's cliffs coming. We cannot in good conscience, let you do this. So they talk me into it. So I take Alice off. The guy takes his backpack off and we swap. I put his backpack on, and I'm like,
weightless.
Yeah, I'm like the dude in Up. They start floating away. They have to grab my heel. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker, that hurts. Meanwhile, he goes to put Alice on, and I have to show him the technique that I learned from Rex, the Marine, for how to put the pack on. And when he gets it on, he goes, how the fuck did you hike anywhere with this thing on your back, let alone however many miles? But he puts it on, and it dude does not complain. He says, all right, let's go. And we start heading down, and we hike the entire rest of the way back to the cars.
Which is once you get down to the bottom of Walter Wiggles,
there's
you ain't
still
done.
plenty of hike left.
No, you're not done. It's at least another mile.
It probably would have taken me 3 or 4 hours to do that hike on my own. And with him, we did it under an hour because we just went.
Yeah, because he's got fresh legs, so to speak.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I ain't
and
about...
now he still has blisters.
Yeah, you're right. So, dude, we do it. We fucking do it.
Yeah.
We get to the cars, and we're talking the whole way, and he can see how fucked up I am. And that dude knows from blisters. And he says, hey, my wife and I have a room at the lodge. Why don't you come and fuck my wife?
Yeah.
That
did happen.
No, he said, why don't we got a bathtub. We can take your boots off and take a look at it and, give you some first aid because you need treatment.
Yeah.
And the guy has skills. And I'm like, dude, the problem is with the duct tape, if I take these boots off, it might be months before I could, literally months before I could put boots back on. And I still have to drive home.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm just going to drive home. And then when I get home, again, they're like, that's tomorrow's problem.
Yeah. So
we go our separate ways. And
that guy was a fucking hero.
Dude, he and his wife, absolute goddamn heroes. They're architects from Denver. And, with social media now, I noticed in my old
stuff
stuff
probably dead.
that I have their photos.
Yeah.
I should post that picture and see if I can find out who they were. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. All right, so anyway. So I drive all the way home, and I'm living at my parents' house at the time.
Uh-huh.
And so my mom is there, and I'm like, okay, let's put the bathtub, get the bathtub going. We're going to start taking this duct tape off. And so I take my shoes off, and I'm pretty sure there was still a bunch of blood in my sock,
Yeah.
And it looks horrific. And then she starts taking the duct tape off, and it hurts. But now at this point, I'm tough now. I've changed.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
a different person.
man.
I became a man on this trip. And I did something that I would have previously thought I couldn't do, and so she starts taking it off, and yes, it's awful and it hurts, but what are you going to do? It's got to come off,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but she turns out she doesn't have the stomach for it. And so she says, you're going to have to wait until your dad gets home and he can do the rest. Okay, we'll wait until my dad gets home. So then my dad gets home, and he's a gruff old plumber, and he's game for it. And he starts taking the duct tape off. But what we're seeing is all the flesh that's coming off with the duct tape and the bleeding.
Yeah,
and it's just
not
more
good.
than we can handle,
Yeah.
Medically. And so we go to UMC Quick Care, which is like a little urgent care place that they have here in Vegas. And I go in there, and those doctors start looking at it, and they presume that I'm one of those dipshits who walked across hot coals.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I'm like, no, this came from hiking. It is heat, but it's friction. And so they start trying to take the duct tape off, and they realize they're over their head
Yeah.
to do this. I wound up having to go to the
burn
unit at the hospital.
Yeah.
So I went to the burn unit. They took the rest of the duct tape off. And I got to tell you, dude, those are some of the most compassionate and like gentle.
You still have the pictures for this, right?
Oh, yeah.
When we air this episode, we definitely got to post those pictures.
Yeah, we'll put them on the Facebook page, on the
Yeah.
Scafachiverse page. And yeah, dude, because holy shit. And so it's bad. So I wound up having 2nd-degree burns over the bulk of both of my feet, over the bottoms of the feet and the sides. And I had to go multiple times back to the burn unit to get treatment. I had to wear these crazy boots with do they have the most miraculous gauze that doesn't stick at all?
Sure, yeah.
And that they can just pull it right off. It's like putting a cloud on your feet. And dude, full credit to the burn unit at UMC. They took great care of me. And oh my God, dude, that is like one of the most tragic, awful places on earth.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's other people in the burn unit too.
Worse shape than you.
And way worse shape.
Yeah.
And dude, it's fucking horrible, dude. Earth is awful. And but I did it.
Yeah.
And I'm alive now.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that taught me that all this shit eventually passes.
Yeah.
You know, and one way or the other, you wind up on the other side. And, you know, I have this mentality now of I can just put my head down and keep going.
Good.
And if it's going to suck, it'll suck, but suck eventually ends one way or the other. And eventually you get through it. You get through the other side. And sometimes you just have to put your head down and keep going. Whether you think you can or not, you just have to do it.
All right.
Or die trying.
Dude, so this has been an epic episode.
Oh, yeah.
We went...
Yeah, we
two
went over
episodes
an hour.
and then
2
some.
episodes in length. Yep.
Yeah, and so we're gonna get to our final spot. Who is the lucky?
Well, hold on. So I have been back to the West Room at Zion a few times.
Well,
We went once with you, right?
Once with
After that, once I healed up, we went and did it again, and we did it in a day.
It's
great as a day hike.
and I brought just a regular backpack with a little bit of water and like a couple of granola bars. And,
yeah, exactly. As a day
beef
hike,
jerky.
Yeah, dude, no problem.
Killed it.
Yeah, day hike is not bad. So the but Alice never been back. So yeah, that's dude, fuck that. All right, the sponsor.
Yeah,
and then we'll get out of here. The sponsor for today's episode is Jelly's Snot Knockin' Barbecue, dude. The times like the MREs, I like MREs.
Yeah,
I thought they were pretty good. But I would think about things that aren't in the MREs, like ice cream.
Sure.
Or like Jelly's Snot Knockin' Barbecue.
Yeah.
You know, they probably have like a macaroni barbecue shredded beef or something.
Yeah.
But, dude, it ain't like Jelly's.
Dude,
Jelly's fucking good.
Dude, they got the brisket nachos. They're good.
17 locations nationwide. Come see what everyone is raving about, including us right now. Mention you heard this on the Scafachiverse podcast and get 20% off your pregame victory dessert.
Nice.
Jelly's Snot Knockin' Barbecue. Keep it classy, no buck stuff.
All right, everybody. For Anthony Scafachi.
Yeah. I'm Alan Gegax.
This has been the Scafachiverse podcast. We are out.